Okay, and I believe this is number 12 of our survival gardening series. This time we're going to look at the soil test we got for the spot we are opening up, new spot we're opening up that we showed you in parts 10 and 11. Basic soil test is going to, and I recommend you do this on any area both you're growing in now or you intend on growing later on, even if you have an unused portion of the lawn or something like that you've always said, well, I'm just going to put that in a garden when the time comes. You need to know now, ahead of time, what's going on with that soil so that you can make the amendments ahead of time. Your chances of being able to go out and find dolomitic lime or sulfur, even a natural source for sulfur in that, are going to be a lot slimmer after something happens. So you know, we've discussed some of the different options before for the lime, like for example tearing sheetrock out of abandoned houses, things like that. We'll add some lime and some calcium and such to the soil. But you know, any amendments you can make ahead of time, all the better. Your general soil test, you can go to your extension services and such, and they will provide these for a fairly nominal fee. I think here in this state which we're in right now is in Georgia, you can get them for anywhere from about $5 to $8. All right, what they're gonna show you is the condition of the soil in the area that you take the results. So if it's a large area, it's probably a good idea to take several soil samples in. All right, this soil area here, and this is the one we showed again in the new area we're opening up that we showed in 10 or 11 and or both. A couple of things. Okay, it was very low in phosphorus, it was very low in potassium, calcium, magnesium. Zinc was in the sufficient range, which you see there it says sufficient. Manganese was in the sufficient range also. The pH was extremely low, 4.8. That would have been good for, say, growing blueberries there, or possibly some potatoes and things like that, stuff that likes low pH. But for most garden vegetables and such, and even some grains, we want to get it up to approximately a 6 to 7% pH range. So it's nice that it gives you a little quick snapshot here at the beginning. This is soil that really hadn't been anything happening in probably, oh, I don't know, I'm guessing 20 or 30 years. It's just been in grass and that. All right, now it gives you some nice little recommendations here. First recommendation is limestone, 45 pounds per 1,000 square feet. We've done that already. You saw that on the last video and such. And again, it shows here recommended pH 6.0 to 6.5. It also recommends dolomitic limestone should be used to satisfy the lime requirements and to provide needed magnesium. It also recommends a half pound of sulfur or 2 pounds of gypsum per 1,000 square feet. All right. The sulfur must be for the sulfur element, not actually for a pH factor. Sometimes people will put sulfur onto soil that's on the opposite of this low 4.8. Say it's 8, you know, or 7.8 or something really high like that. Sometimes you'll see a recommendation where you should add some sulfur to actually lower the pH. Further goes on to say broadcast 30 pounds of 10-10-10 per 1,000 square feet, etc., etc., etc. And you know, not that we wouldn't do that, but we're going to try to do some of this with stuff we have available and such as well too. All right, so let's go and look at some of the different soil amendments and things we can do to help that area. Okay, and what we did here, there's some trees falling in this area. We're clearing another section to basically expand this garden area and basically attach it to another garden area as well too. So as always, we have to keep the camera angles low for OPSEC reasons and things like that, so you get to see just what you get to see, and unfortunately we can't do nothing about that. So excuse the half a pine tree there in this new area. You've noticed we've got some stuff growing here, and this was pretty thick here not too long ago. What this is a mixture of both wheat and oats, and it was sown specifically for a cover crop for this area. Now, before we planted that, what we did is we made about a 300-mile round trip, and we got several big loads of cow manure, and you'll see the clods and such in there and such from yep, and such from the cow manure. Some of the stuff has been busted up. Really, once this is disc a little bit more, these clods aren't really going to matter. At this point, you know, we're not throwing this section into production right off the bat. It's simply, you know, we're simply working on building up the soil here early on. The other thing we're fixing to do is we're fixing to add some bone meal into this area and that as well too. The bone meal is going to add phosphoric acid, you know, which is needed for this area. It was really low on that second number, and if you see looking on the back of the bag here, basically it's the equivalent of 10-10-10 minus the nitrogen and the potash. This is just our second number, which is the phosphate and such, and it's derived from bone meal. So again, for all the organo-Nazis and that think we're always just out here pouring DDT on the soil and, you know, we're down with Monsanto or whatever, you know, again, you're incorrect here. Just because we've used a little bit of sprays on trees and such to save trees, which I thought hippies were all about, doesn't mean we're not trying to use as much of these organic methods as possible. So we're getting this area here prepped, this new area we showed in the last video and such. We've brought in all the cow manure because, you know, we raise some small animals. We usually run about 6 to 8 working rabbits, in other words, breeding rabbits, and then we also, you know, have a flock of usually anywhere from 6 to about a dozen laying hens and that as well. Yeah, and such. Anywho, the problem with that is for a small homestead, you're typically not going to have enough manure to really do the kind of cover the kind of gardening areas you really need to produce a lot of vegetables. And I'm going to show you that here right now. Okay, you can go ahead and dump it there, Frankola. And go ahead and dump it, man. Of course, you can get all the family into the act here. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
That'll be good. You can take that bag over there.
Okay.